The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 preview picks and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, get on over there. Edge Boost is the bank account built for better. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit bonus. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Bill Romanowski. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Welcome to the UFL Gambling Podcast, where crossroads meet bullshit. You are home as Week 9 continues on the journey to the Freedom Cup. Exciting week, supposed to be a lot of big time games. Supposed to be always the playoff race heating up. Home field at stake. None of it happening this weekend. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
Oh, boys. Good. I didn't catch the rest of your guys' nice little podcast you did after you booted me, you know? But I'm excited to talk where crossroads meet bullshit because we have a lot of bullshit to tackle. You guys snuck away from my my stuff I wanted to hit you with. Cold hard facts. But it's okay. I am joined by my buddy. He is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. Subscribe, tell a friend. He doesn't like the ping of the college baseball bat, this prick. Give it up for the great Scumbagger Vance, aka the Hey buddy.
Hey there now, what's up, Phil? Yeah, we had to kick you out. It wasn't our decision. The network came in when you brought in that South America communist bullshit. We didn't want any of that agenda to offend any of our good listeners out there. So
I don't get brain man cold, but they're counting down 7.
Someone had to pull the plug. But welcome back to the United States, where you belong. We said that we don't like Dundee abroad. That's for sure. Pushing your cultures out there. How many planes did it take you to get back there? How'd you get back?
Yeah, 24 hours of travel, pretty much.
Woo!
I left at I think it was 1:30 in the morning in Colombia. It's a small town, so you have to drive quite a bit to get to the airport.
Sure.
And then you get on the airplane there. And I have you guys been through Colombia checks? It's fucking fantastic. Not. I mean, it's been a while since I've been on a plane that actually could explode, not from running into something. They just let you on. All right, they had a guy, they had a soldier who had a full soldier uniform.
Yeah.
Just look at me, kind of look at the bag, and go. And I was on.
That's how they do it. That's how the proper countries do it. Israel does it too. You don't need to take your shoes off and do all that bullshit. You have one guy, a couple military guys. They know who's packing and who's not. You know, you don't have to throw grandma against the wall. You just make a little eye contact.
Oh, and let me tell you, you fly better knowing the unexpected could happen. In my opinion, like you fly better. It's like, damn. I wonder if anyone want to take out this plane. No, of course not. These are good Colombian people. All right.
Good for them.
So yeah, it took four flights because I had to go from there to Bogota, from Bogota to Panama to Newark, and then Newark to the good RDU, Raleigh, North Carolina. Nice. So and then from there I did have to catch, as my father says, a Uber to my car, which I didn't park at the airport. They're not going to get me, Bet Detective. And then and from my car, then an hour drive to the casa there.
Oh my God. Well, you made it back for the UFL show, not before you squeezed in the main show. You can do it so they can poach you for your UFL segment. I heard you already blew your stats on why this league is terrible on that show, and then save it for the stepchild show here of the UFL. But that's fine. Me and J Mark held it down.
Yeah, we are joined by third man in the booth. All right, and you don't mow another man's lawn, all right? And he lives by that thing right here. Give it up for Justin Mark, a.k.a. No Turn J Mark. How are you, pal?
Doing good. Yeah, just jumped off the mower. I noticed it was 5 minutes till the pod, so I jumped off, ran in here, thought, shit, we got to talk some UFL. And yeah, don't blame us for you getting kicked off. That was the Columbia Cartel, which are huge Battlehawk fans, and you were just getting ready to slander the Battlehawks, and they said, we're done with that, and cut your internet. So don't blame us. Also, shout out to Tyler in the chat. Back-to-back UFL shows. What other network is doing this? No one. That's right.
No one should, if I'm being honest.
Come on.
But look, you could have done the episode from the lawnmower, because that's how important this week is to the league. I
notice I rarely go to the UFL's website. I just don't frequent it, I guess. And I did notice they're already advertising their conference championships. I know it's all set. We all know it's all set, but maybe don't start advertising it yet in week 9. Come on.
The league is so bad, guys. I want to like spring football really, really fucking bad.
We know this comes from love. We do.
Really, really fucking bad. When the NFL Europe was happening, I didn't miss a fucking game. World League in '91, I didn't
love
miss a
the
game.
Barcelonas.
Old school. I have a photo of me watching the fucking Los Angeles Express as like a fucking 3-year-old, right? I want spring football to work, but don't be fooled. This league is trash, and there's no other way behind it. Like, there's no other way to hide it. Like, how about this St. Louis thing? All right. It's bad enough that you got the championship game there back-to-back years where they're just like, let's do it. Okay, but then they finagle this thing to put the championship game, not the Super Bowl, the NFC championship or the AFC championship, the XFL championship, which had DC won out, they would have the more than likely DC would have had home field advantage, but
they would.
Oldie Field is taken, which
rented out for a non-televised soccer game.
And guys, I happen to grow up in that city. I know that Georgetown football is a short bus ride away from Oldie Field. Same with Howard University. And then also, if you go a little bit outside of Washington, D.C., into Maryland or Virginia, there are plenty of avenues to host a football game. There's Bird Stadium, Maryland's in College Park, right? Not far. There is Annapolis Navy Memorial Stadium, not that far away. Towson, Johnny Unitas Stadium there in Baltimore, available. Virginia offers some as well. And I thought, to then move this game to St. Louis, and I thought that, they asked Jordan Ta'amu and some of the other guys after the game and where they should be playing the game. They said Arlington, which makes more sense too, because that's where their hub is. To play it in St. Louis, how are we supposed to have how are we supposed to regard this league with any fucking integrity? They tried to change the whole playoff system. They basically made the Arlington Renegades lose a couple games, so they're not in the playoff race, even though they're the third-rated offense and the third-rated defense, which is mind-boggling.
That was Luis Perez, not the UFL.
Yeah, I don't buy that. Guys,
will Georgetown provide 20,000 fans to show up like St. Louis will? That's what it comes down to. They don't care about, if location, whatever vicinity, or they can bring the damn beer snake to St. Louis and bring in front of 25,000 Battlehawk fans. That's what it comes down to. Or Moose Johnson up there, he's like,
why even have the league?
Every avenue. Why even have the league?
Why are you supposed to be a fan of DC?
It's all even Steven, because this week St. Louis was supposed to host a game. They couldn't do it, so they moved it to San Antonio.
No, it was the other way around. Other way around.
What? It's at San Antonio, now it's at St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see that? Perfect. Now they can fill that up. No one's going to go to San Antonio. I thought it was the
You know
other way.
why they couldn't, right?
No, why? What's happening in San Antonio?
They do all their high school graduations at the Alamo Dome.
Mm.
But there's this thing called Incarnate Word, which is in San Antonio, which is right down the road. And I think Kramer just looked this up on the other show. $1,500 for a stadium and parking. But guess what? Couldn't figure that one out. Let's play that game in St. Louis. It's just, guys, I know we're supposed to do the show. I could not be more turned off by a spring football league than what they currently are. I think the league is such a fucking joke from the way they're doing that. Obviously we knew some of the trades in years past, but I don't understand how you're supposed to start a fan base. Like if you're a fan of the DC Defenders that have been going to the Beer Snake games, you're like, what the fuck is this? I just don't understand. It's like, what? You couldn't get Ypsilanti? You couldn't go to anywhere, literally anywhere. But, and they did this, they ran into that same problem a year ago, might I add. So it's not like it's like you had another year to change the avenue that you went down a year ago. But the league sucks, man.
But
how about DC doesn't book a fucking soccer game during the playoffs? How about that? Yeah, that's your punishment. You know what? I don't care what the venue is. You do a non-televised soccer game, pack your beer snake, fuck your goddamn fucking, and ship your ass to St. Louis where we're playing football. There's going to be a football game in St. Louis. So shove it up your shin guards and your fucking umbros.
I just can't get past.
Can we call a spade here? This is Colby disliking the Battlehawks. That's all it is, because you don't hear him complaining about the Stallions getting the home field no matter what, even if Michigan has the better record.
How do you not make sure
Colby going to South America, falling in love with soccer, him and Pele down there, barefoot on the dirt roads, and all of a sudden he says, get out of town, DC, head off, because there's something more important around here.
Yeah.
And I get that it's hard. I agree with them picking a championship location at a team that's in the league. Not necessarily, but I get why
I'm not even that mad at that.
Everyone knows why. Yeah, I mean, it's the boxing.
But to load them up all these games now? Come on.
Yeah, it's unfair and stupid, but they know why. It's the box office. What's the money? They're trying to make money. That being said,
they're clearly not trying to make money by not playing. Like, if you're trying long term to make money, you want if Michigan beats Birmingham, they'd be
long term. They're hoping the checks clear on Friday when they get to the damn bank. What do you mean long term?
I'm just so out on this fucking league, dude. Like I think I've watched every fucking spring league that's ever came up.
You can watch your spring soccer league. They'll go to their home stadiums. You'll get all those. You can do your penalty kicks and your side outs or whatever they do. Corners.
And there's a lot of similarities when I see that UFL kickoff.
Did you see the UFL brand advertise how we're a league that won't ban the push or whatever like that? Like, we play real football. We won't bring that up. Shut up, UFL.
Oh God.
Shout out to the chat real quick. Steve from New Hampshire saying, I can relate to what you're saying. I hope you don't mind me chiming in here, but I love the league for what it is. Anytime there's pro spring football, I'm grateful and thankful. I agree.
Here.
We sometimes lose sight of the fact that despite the league kind of fumbling a lot of this production part of it, it's still a great opportunity for these players to show out no matter where they're playing.
Colby does this from a place of love. He wants the best for it. He just has a different, blunt approach where he, I
just think you got it. Number one should be the integrity of the fucking game. And the minute you ruin that by foo-foo trades that we've seen over the past 2 years, and then just blatantly trying to change the playoff rules so St. Louis can get in, which I can't think.
We don't know the legitimacy of that. It was proposed and it was shut down. It's not like they tried. If they wanted to do it, they would do it. I don't understand. There's no like committee that
Well, they are doing
it down.
They got. Well, I'm saying.
Well, they'll do it next year, and it's probably a better decision.
No, I think when you combine that with how many home games they now are getting, you see the agenda. Like, I don't want to sound like fucking JFK.
The agenda, of course, is to promote St. Louis. That's the best looking event they have on TV.
And to me, it ruins the integrity of the sport.
All right, let's move
on. Yeah. So the league sucks, but folks, I do want to tell you, you know what doesn't suck? Us, SGPN. You got to check out our merch store. We're running a promo code, 20% off everything with the promo code DGens. Get on over there. It's a free app. All right. Just type in SGPN in the app store, or you can go old school, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, click on store, and boom. Type in that promo code DGens, though. And remember, as always, to let it ride. All right. We are back talking UFL gambling podcast where crossroads meet bullshit. And guys, I did want to hit you with this number. So last week, I know you guys probably mentioned this after I signed off, but every team was outgained. Every team with the less yards won. Sure. Actually, 7-1 in the last 8 games.
Yep.
Teams with less yards. So I'd gotten into it before with some people on the interwebs about why that's a gimmick. Right. And why the league is kind of a gimmick league. And so I did some deep diving. I was on lots of airplanes. And so there's been 32 games so far in the UFL. And what? Let me pull up my notes here. 18 of the games, the team that had more yards won. 14 times the team. So it's basically at 44% right now, but that's not a good number if you compare. And here's another thing: is 6 of those times, the team that was outgained by over 100 yards lost. So 6 of the 14. The reason why I bring that up is 44% of the time the worst team loses essentially. And I know you could say that's gimmick stuff, a pick 6 here. Well, I don't buy into that, and that's why I bring it up so often. And I went through and looked at the first 32 NFL games from a year ago. 10 of the first 32 games, teams that were outgained, but most of these were by like 3 yards, 7 yards. Only 3 games in 32 games were outgained by over 100 yards, right? And then I did college football. College football is at 12%. I just used the first 2 weeks of the college football season. Just FBS on FBS, not FCS against FBS. And it was at 12%. So my point is that's why the league is such a fucking gimmick league, man, is you can't have week in, week out, the better team lose. It's not good for the product. And I really think like there's one thing if it's a 5 yards gained, like, okay, whatever, who cares? But if you're 100 to 150 yards so frequently, it's bad for the league. You're not getting the best teams to play in the playoffs. And you're not like Arlington should be in the playoffs based off their stats. Right.
Well, yeah. The counter to that is the yardage is not the end all be all for statistics. Turnovers do matter just as much. And you're talking about last week, there was pick 6s in all those games, and that makes a big difference. Fumble on the 7, it's a 6-yard drive for a touchdown. Now the next team brings up and it's 50 yards. Yes, it is a determining factor of who played a better game, but it's not the end all be all. I mean,
well, why was that rate so much higher?
Yardage stats can definitely be. Yardage stats can be misleading. You understand that. It always has been like that.
Sure, but not at this level of hit, dude. This level, 4% of the games, that's ridiculous.
So I think it's skewed higher in this league because you have less teams playing. So any stat is going to be skewed because there's less. But also the quarterback play has not been great.
Yeah.
You have had your pick 6s. You've had a lot of turnovers. I mean, and if you look at the Stallions game, they got severely outgained, right, by Houston. but they had a return that took them down to the 2-yard line. They had the pick six. They had the fumble recoveries. I think it comes down to, I hate the narrative. I know you hate it, Colby, of it's a quarterback driven league. Football is a quarterback driven sport. I hate that too. But in this league, the quarterback play has not been good, especially this year. We've argued over who's the best because it keeps flipping back and forth. Right. I think it comes down to the quarterback play. They're making too many mistakes. And so your defenses are winning out. And so you will see, yeah, they're moving the ball a lot, but they're not converting because they're not making the plays.
A lot of non-conversions and a lot of conversions after scores too becomes a huge factor too. When that adds up, when one team gets 2 and then gets none, then you get a field goal, and then that becomes a full score on its own. And these turnovers are just ridiculous. And J Mark's right. The quarterback play. I mean, even when they are good, they're good until they're not, and then they make a huge mistake, like classic Luis Perez.
I just think that number, you're underselling how big that number is compared to like I said, dude, I did the AFL, the fucking spring league. What was it? The AFL? Was that it?
American football.
No, but I'm saying I've done we do the CFL show. It's normally not this, I pulled up college football, I went through Sunbelt games. There's normally not this big of a difference. And that's why I think the league, one of the reasons why the league sucks is I think you can't have your better teams. Statistically, you watch the game and you're like, well, yeah, that team was way better than the other team. Oh, they lost. You know what I mean? Like that's not good for the sport, in my opinion. If you want this thing to work, it's not a good thing.
I suggest you handicap which team you think will get less yards. And then you get yourself a winner then.
True.
True. Make it work to your advantage.
Very true. Anyway, and feel free to hit me up if you want those numbers. I can publish them.
And Dundee, I was just going to say, all in all, I appreciate you doing research and bringing some absolute crunching numbers and bringing the math to the UFL show. That's what you got down. That's what you get when you have 24 hours of travel time.
24 hours. And look, and the FBI talk about, you act like this didn't happen in the USFL. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there was pick sixes and shit. So why is it this league's number is so much higher? That's the question I would ask anyone, would be like, why is this so much higher in this league? And that to me is the definition of a gimmick fucking league.
Part of the charm, as Stacey says. Absolutely.
Anyway, folks, I want to tell you that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There's no usage fee, no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards, 100% approval rating for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog is going long for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Hop in the game. As you know, the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus bets get. And jump over there. Underdog always kills it. They got everything. They got UFL action too. Sign up today. Promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code TCE SGPN. All right. We are back on the UFL Gambling Podcast. And game one, I did not adjust the slides because I don't give a shit enough. But the Battlehawks were supposed to be playing in San Antonio. The line, this is the irony here. So they're playing this in St. Louis. The line actually came down on St. Louis being favored. It was 8 in San Antonio.
There's a big reason. That's because CJ and I gave out Brahma's plus 8 on the
little leak. We said, grab it now. Grab that line now.
Yep. And I'm sure everybody ran out there, grabbed it. That's probably the line movement. It's us.
Yeah. Well, I'll still take the Battlehawks because the league will do everything to make this team awesome. So lay it with these Battlebirds.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. Not just changing the venue there, but they also announced, Colby, I don't know if you heard this, they're starting Kellen Mond at quarterback.
Yeah, that was part of the handicap too. I was like, whoa, they're going to Kellen Mond.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, you know what sucks too is like going back to this, the playoff race should be awesome this week. it should be awesome if we knew, St. Louis could steal home field from DC. Michigan could take home field from Birmingham. And because those venues weren't locked down, we're stuck with basically a useless week. I'm on the Battlebirds though. Give me I'll lay it, and I'll take the over as well.
Yeah, no, it's very disappointing, obviously, that both of these weeks are going to be weeks because the playoffs are locked in and the venues are locked in no matter what happens. So we basically have week 9 and 10 like this. So you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who St. Louis is going to play. Daryl Johnson even said that's his fear that people are going to, rest starters. Well, Johnson, it's your fault. Don't take a venue like this, know, and you put the games in St. Louis, that's what's going to happen. So
how do you fuck this up though, man? Like if this is your league, how can you imagine? Like you're supposed to have. This is where the drama of this is why you want to watch. This is the Eagles are playing the Cowboys. The winner's going to get the NFC East, right? You want to see this, and to just delete it because of logistics is fucking insane.
It's true. St. Louis signed Chevin Cordeiro at quarterback. Maybe we get a little Cordeiro action. That'd be nice.
Former Hawaii Rainbow Warrior. I fucking interviewed him. Mountain West. You know what? Give me St. Louis all day.
That's what I'm talking about. But San Antonio signed Alan Bowman, the old Oklahoma State Cowboy, who had a cup of coffee with Michigan pre-draft this season.
You go. He's back. He can play in the NFL. He said it himself. I feel like I could play in the NFL.
So this line came down to 6.5, but the total went up to 42.5, which is odd to me. You would think it would come down to 6.5, thinking maybe just some buyback or the venue change, but it went to St. Louis. That's what makes it odd for me. I took the 8 with San Antonio early on. I'll take the 6.5 as well. I don't know what I'm going to get out of St. Louis. I don't know why they would.
But it's in the Battlebird Dome,
Yeah, I know it's in the Battlebird Dome, but I'm taking the points. I'm also taking the under 42.5.
I'm thinking the over just because why do they need to care about tackling hard?
I mean, if it's Kellen Mond versus Chevion Cordero, I'm taking the under 42.5.
Well, there's that. That's fair. That is fair. But yeah, I mean,
tackle it hard.
I just feel like the motivation, it might actually really play a role in this game. J Mark, what are you doing here at the Battlebirds Dome?
I do think St. Louis needs to keep starting Max Duggan because despite the fact that he's looked good running the ball, he has not looked great passing the ball, and he needs to keep getting those reps until he's more comfortable if he can get to that point. I hate to do this because I know sometimes when we go on the same side against Colby, he likes to rub it in a little bit. But these Friday night games have been ugly. They have been ugly.
Good point.
And you get Kellen Mond in there. I know he looked like shit to start the season, but sometimes putting in a fresh guy can give a little bit of a bump. St. Louis has really nothing to play for except game reps. I'm taking the Brahmas as well. I preferred it at the +8. I'll take it at the +6.5 though. And I also like the under. I think this is going to be a sloppy game. These Friday night games have been sloppy. They've been slow. I think that's going to be the narrative, and that's why I like the
the overs.
All
4 overs hit last week. I mean, the overs been fire since week 3, basically. I mean, once they got the offenses going, and as much as they have adjusted to the totals, they've all been flying over. Not all of them, but they've all been flying over. Even the Friday night game a couple weeks ago, where Kevin Hogan looked like Andrew Luck out there versus DC, the 35-28 game. That was back and forth affair. So then we all went on the Brahmas the following week, and then we realized, that's right, he's Kevin Hogan, and he threw 3 interceptions for 90 yards and lost to Troy Williams, who threw for 36 goddamn yards. But that was a different story, and that still went over.
Yeah, give me that over all day. Let's go. Keep these overs coming. Danny Garcia, whoever the fuck. Andy Garcia, Danny Garcia. I don't fucking know. All right. Next up on Saturday, we got the Arlington Renegades. King of Spring. This is his farewell tour as they head into my favorite stadium, the Liberty Bowl, to take on these Memphis Showboats. Did you guys catch Jim Turner's comment I sent you guys?
I did see
this
that.
Fucking,
that was great.
This stiff. How about
man for man, buddy?
I know if you're listening to this, you're probably Googling, if you care enough, who the fuck Jim Turner is. But he's the interim head coach of the Memphis Showboats after Ken Wisenhunt decided to go, catch some live music in Napa. But Jim Turner, he said, pound for pound, man for man, we're the toughest team in this league. I guess you got to say something when your season's already. Does somebody tell them that they're not eligible for the playoffs?
Well, no. I mean, they must be tough to keep showing up each week after playing like that and getting their breaks beat in, and being terrible. And then they show up to work the next day. Yeah, you're pretty damn tough, Showboats.
EJ Perry was announced as starting quarterback 35 minutes ago, and that's enough for me to lock up Arlington. I will take these Renegades. How about Bob Stoops last week too? These fucking bullshit rules. What did he say?
He said, "Well, you have some." Yeah, he did like you have some ridiculous rule, like bullshit rules or whatever. Like talking to the ref, like, "Yeah, I didn't make them. I mean, what do you want from me?"
Like, aren't you supposed to know them, coach?
Yeah,
but they're still bullshit rules.
Yeah. Do you have an off-season voting thing? Are you involved in this league, coach? You probably have more power than I do. I'm a goddamn night security guard.
Oh, that's gold. Renegades are the play. And this is actually with I like the under. With EJ Perry starting, they're going to do nothing on offense. And
I can see that.
Yeah.
I love Arlington here, though. And did you see Memphis cut Wes Hills, too, after just signing him? And it was his guy to cut Wills.
Did he score a touchdown like a week ago?
He was great a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Then he didn't get much carries. They about the Prince, and now they cut Wes Hills.
Maybe he called Jim Turner a stiff, too, after that statement.
They did sign Jada Byers, though. I'm sure you're excited about that. Maybe he'll get in there. I love Arlington here. It's actually me and J Mark when we previewed it. I said this is gonna be my play of the board that I like the most, mainly because I'm looking for teams who don't have. These are two non-playoff teams, so there will be somewhat motivated. But I think Arlington takes out a lot of frustration and anger of their whole season on this game. When Memphis is terrible, you're getting them off a win, which is somehow they won when Troy Williams threw for 36 yards. They got it at overtime. I mean, whatever. They got lucky with his field goal and Kirkland drop, but I think Arlington is just maybe a hair under all those playoff teams. They've gone toe to toe with them. They got a lot of talent. I think King of Spring flexes and I think they bury Memphis.
These Kirkland drops need to be studied, by the way.
Yeah, I know. They're brutal.
Ronnie Harmon 2.0 here. I'm all over Arlington too. J Mark, CJ, do you like the under? I like the under.
What is it? 40.5. That is a high number. That EJ Perry does make a difference. I don't know. I think Arlington really has a party. I'm just going to go to the over. Why not? Why the hell not?
All right. J Mark, what are you doing here?
Yeah. So on the recap show, I mentioned that get out of here with this King of Spring nickname, Mr. 500. Let's call him Mr. 500. And in order to get to 500, he's got to win 2 games here. When you cut out some of the negativity, you can do some look ahead lines here. And CJ and I looked at this at 4. I like it at 4.5 just as much. I mean, I think Arlington rolls. I think they're pissed off. I think they come into this game pissed off. Their season has not gone right or how they wanted it to go. I think Luis Perez, if he can be the veteran that he is a veteran in this league. He looks at last week and says, shit, I fucked that up, guys. That's my bad. Because Stoops didn't know he was going to do the fake spike. He threw him under the bus in the post-game presser and said, I thought we were going to spike it, kick the field goal, and go into overtime. Not the case for Luis Perez. He called a little audible.
Well, he learned to watching YouTube. So he watched Dan Marino tapes on YouTube and did the fake spike routine,
Yeah. So I think to an extent, Luis has to say, hey, guys, that was completely my bad. I'm going to make it up by let's blow those Showboats out. Let's kick their ass. So despite not being the King of Spring in my mind and being Mr. 500, I do think they roll in this game. So I'm all over Arlington. The over-under is tough because I could see Arlington put up a shit ton of points on the Boats. I think they come into this pissed off. They have a point to prove. But at the end of the day, do they prove it? I don't know if the Boats can score any points either with EJ Perry. So I'm going to go with the under here.
Yeah, there we go. All right, we're gonna get to Sunday's action, but before I do that, I'm sorry, one more Saturday game and then the Sunday game. But before we do that, I want to let you know that the UFL Gambling Podcast, previewed picks and DFS episodes, brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is your home for AI back picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs, PGA, MLB, and they just launched the WNBA. Rhythm knows you'll love it. That's why they're giving you a free 7-day trial period. And Rhythm's got some great deals going on now. 25% off the monthly subscription with the promo code SGPN25 and 50% off the annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. That's Rhythm. That's RITHMM. Promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Also, get your free 7-day trial period today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. I mean, this thing's fucking awesome. All right. The Circa in downtown Las Vegas, good friends of ours, great people there. But what they're doing here, even if they weren't friends of ours, I would say they're fucking fantastic. They are doing the ultimate fantasy football experience for any 12-person league to draft in Las Vegas and be treated like VIPs for the entire stay. You might even fucking meet Wayne Newton or some shit, right? Look, the winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for the entire 12-person league. Yes, 6 double king rooms. You can hold your draft at a cabana in Stadium Swim, which you haven't been to Stadium Swim. You got to check that thing out. And they're going to give you a $5,000 food and beverage credit, limo transportation from the airport, a welcome party at the Legacy Club, which if you haven't been up there, Ric Flair was there a few weeks back, slamming back cocktails, right? A reservation at the world's largest sports book, which is obviously at Circa there, with a $500 beverage credit for the league, a 2-hour open bar package at the Overhang Bar as well. The contest is going on from May 5th until June 30th. And here's how to enter: sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's CIRCA. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the NBA playoffs. And for the true degens, the MyBookie money bag accepts customers from a ton of different locations. You can easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using crypto. I'm on these East Carolina Pirates right now, up 6-3 on Charlotte in the 8th inning. Hopefully it doesn't collapse because it's the last leg of a parlay right now. Yeah, I mean, that's some of the action you can get in college baseball is going off right now. The road to Omaha, we got that going on. UFL, CFL's about to kick. Me and J Mark will be pumping out episodes while this bet detective prick gives us the cold shoulder, right? Head over to mybookie.ag, SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions to apply though. That's mybookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN. All right, we are back. Talking United football. Set it.
Colby, real quick. What's the steakhouse below the Circa?
Yeah, Barry's. It's fantastic.
All right, go to Barry's and order. They have a single barrel select of the Iowa Legendary Rye. It's a recipe from this guy who his grandmother was a bootlegger way back in Prohibition. They use the same exact recipe. It's really good stuff. And Barry's has a single barrel select of it. Go try that.
And while you're going to try that, subscribe to the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, because let me tell you, they break that shit down. He'll tell you he has knowledge about goddamn whiskeys. You're seeing it right there firsthand. What was that called again, Bet Detective? What did he say it was?
It was a single barrel select Iowa Legendary Rye.
Or they just burn the corners, right? They just burn the corners, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, honestly, Old Fashioned Football Podcast. They're talking football of all sorts and whiskey, and it's well worth it. But yeah, Barry's is awesome too. I mean, I know
Barry's fantastic steakhouse.
Yeah, very good. Go check it out. Guys, Saturday night, like I said, this would be an awesome game, even though Michigan's winless against Birmingham and the line is crossed 0 because guess what? Bryce Perkins not playing. They got to stick to their guns. Can't play them, especially when there's no stakes on the fucking game. But the line has crossed 0. Birmingham is now laying 2.5, and I will lock that thing up. Lay the 2.5. Etling, I believe, is going to start for Michigan.
Yeah.
He looked all right.
He threw three touchdowns, 67%, 167 yards.
He looks surprisingly good.
Yeah, but
we said that's the worst thing that could happen. Now, come playoff time, Mike Nolan's he's got that fetish for him. He might start going back to platooning again. Sorry, MV Perkins, but you are going in and out each series.
This is tricky because you're really searching for motivation.
Yeah.
Is Jamar Smith gonna start?
Yeah, I didn't understand when this line was. It was 1.5. It opened to 1.5. Michigan favored, right?
Yeah.
And you could tell us the last time Birmingham lost back-to-back games, Colby. I'm sure in its history.
Well, and Michigan has not beaten Birmingham since 1983. Birmingham's got the best defense in the league.
But at the same time, yeah, they do. But at the same time, they did get ran over by St. Louis last week. Sailors ran over for 120 yards and a touchdown.
True. But they had no business winning that game, though. Birmingham was a way better team.
Fair. You say what I don't, but I'm saying the defense also.
Yeah. No, you're right.
One rush defense was ran against. Not just motivation. How much does each team want to show each other because they're going to play each other for the conference championship in 2 weeks?
Does Jamar Smith even start? Why would? I guess you want to start him because of the like he's been working at Dunkin' Donuts, but I'm saying like, what the hell's going to happen in this game? I gotta take Birmingham, but I'm probably not gonna bet this game just because I don't know what the fuck to expect.
Right. I took Birmingham just because that's what they do is beat Michigan, and they don't want to lose back-to-back games. They don't want to go into the playoffs with a couple game losing streak. They need to get this right. Holtz knows that all year long has been a struggle for them, so they don't really have throwaway games as much. But at the same time, like I said, I like the under a lot. I don't think either one shows their cards because of what's happening come in the playoffs in 2 weeks. Why would they? I think it's going to be a very vanilla game plan both ways around. Just try to execute. So at 43.5, I think that's a steal.
The bet. That's the bet, I think.
Yeah.
That's the bet I'm doing for this game too. Under 43.5. I think that's the play. Especially there. I mean, who the fuck knows if Alex Mago might get reps?
Right.
If you're going for the playoffs, why wouldn't you get him? He was a former MVP of the fucking league.
Sure. They want to see who can play.
Yeah. J Mark, what are you doing here?
Yeah, but to your point, what we've said before is, does it matter who starts at quarterback for Birmingham, or even if they switch quarterbacks? They do have, they seemingly have the best quarterbacks in the league, all the way down to their fourth or fifth string. And shout out to Jordan, aka FBI Tugboat, in the chat. He's on a roll, searching for motivation of this episode, and no steak, unlike Perry's.
Yes, shout out to
I like Birmingham better as a dog. However, I still got to ride with them. They have never lost 2 games in a row.
No.
And so I'm backing off of that they're not going to lose 2 games in a row. They're going to win this game. You can still find it at -1.5 as well, but I'll take it at the 2.5. I think no matter who they start at quarterback, this is the better team, the better coach team. And Etling, he did come in. He looked good last week. Surprisingly, that not only did he come in and start the game, but that he looked good. I mean, that surprised us all, right? I think that was kind of a one-game wonder thing. They didn't prepare for him. Now Birmingham has the full week of knowing, like, oh, Etling is starting this game. They prepare for him and they stop him. They shut him down. It's a little scary that in the last 2 games here, the Renegades and Stallions were all on them. That didn't work out for us last week when we made our picks and we were all on one side. But we'll see how it goes. And I also really like the under, not to triple jinx it, but yeah, I like the under as well.
Yeah, I'm betting the shit out of the under. Let's go. That's the play, I think. I mean, I'll take Birmingham just with the Holtz. That's actually the whole reason why you should take Birmingham is just Holtz against Nolan. Like that's honestly, like, I think the thing game management, when to kick a field goal, when to go for 4th downs is on Birmingham's side. So in a game where we don't know who the fuck will be playing on all accounts or what they'll be showing, I'll go with the coach I can trust with management. Sunday, we get DC going to TDECU Stadium to take on the Houston Roughnecks and Curtis Johnson. Oh man, what the fuck are we gonna do here? I mean, DC's laying 3.5, the over under 45.5. I'm taking Houston. Look, Houston's fucking. They what? They outgained Michigan by 200 yards and fucking lost by double digits. How does that happen? That is impossible. That is impossible. By the way, like, I guarantee you this. You look at the NFL or college football numbers from what I was talking about. That shit don't happen. Where if you outgain your opponent by over 200 yards. You don't lose by double digits. You might lose by a field goal if everything's going wrong with pick sixes or kick returns. You're not losing by double digits. DC, like, what's their motivation though? Well, they're gonna rest, right? I have no.
Yeah, and this line ticked up. This was at 3, went to 3.5. That Houston game was a little misleading. Houston did have a lot of yards and looked good, but they missed 2 bad fourth downs, which obviously were drive killers, and they had a pick 6 as well, obviously. I mean, Michigan, they did what they had to do to win, and they played just fine. And then once they have those leads, they kind of sit on it. But the game itself, this is another one where I think Houston lets out a little frustration of things going wrong, and I see DC shut it down. You hear Tamu and everyone rightfully angry about the venue change and all this stuff and can't believe it's not in Arlington. I don't think they're going to be focused on this game. They're going to be focused on trying on one thing, and that's beating St. Louis in St. Louis to say, fuck you, UFL, fuck you, everyone else. They've had a chip on their shoulder all season. The doorman, the coach, they've been doing. I told you to ride them last week versus Arlington as they clinched the playoffs, and they did. I do think they sit this one out. They just clinched it last week. That was a great thing. So give me Houston. I like them on the money line here as well. I think Houston wins this game.
I'm with you too. Let's give me the money line. I'm going to take the over too. Lazy defensive game. Both quarterbacks been firing the ball all around. Give me the over, even though I know that's a big ass number. What are you doing on that total, Bet Detective?
I'm going under just because, like I said, I just don't know how much DC will play their starters. And if they bench Tamu eventually, at least even if for one half of football, that's a completely different team because they do a lot of big plays, especially with their wide receivers. You take them away, it's not the same kind of, it's not just a system you're going to put on. They use it with their weapons and who their quarterback is. So I think it'll be a completely different team. It'll be very conservative. I think they just want to get out of there.
Yeah. Is our boy going to this? Is Coach going to this game?
I'm sure he is.
Hell yeah, he's going. Why are you kidding me? To see this year's champions come to town. Why wouldn't he?
They didn't get the playoffs. They were eliminated last week, so I thought maybe he goes and goes bowling or something. I don't know. But J-Mark, what are you doing here?
He's keeping this organization afloat, like I said last show.
That's right. Yeah, Coach K, season ticket holder. I have a feeling he will be there. Now, sometimes he does have to cut out around halftime because he does have a young son, and as Colby knows, you can only sit at a game for so long with a youngin. Short attention spans, and they get tired. I get it, especially that Houston Heat. This game, so I get what you're saying about nobody cares, but I don't think anybody sits starters this week. Personally, I don't think Michigan, St. Louis, DC, or Stallions. I don't think they sit them this week. Next week, maybe. This week, I don't think they do. So I do think you get Tamu. However, I just said last on our recap show, I guess, that I was no longer worried about DC's defense because they can keep up with everybody, right? I am worried about it against Jalen McClendon. I think you could make a case that he is the best quarterback in this league right now, despite some of his mistakes. He's got some zip on that ball. He's making plays. He looks really good. And I said this on the recap show with CJ after you drop, like, to think of if this team had Zaquandre White and Jalen McClendon starting at week 1, and their defense playing how it is.
Yeah.
This could be a team that made the playoffs, that did push the Stallions or the Panthers. I'm all over them on this game. I like them in the money line. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to put up a lot of yards again. They just put up 441 yards. I think they're going to put up that same amount against DC, who's had trouble stopping people. And maybe Tamu does not care as much, despite the fact that he plays. Maybe he does not care as much and does not keep up in this game. I like the over. I think DC's an auto play for the over, and I like Houston on the money line.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. It. That is so frustrating to how McClendon wasn't the starter week 1 for Houston. I mean, it seems like Curtis Johnson didn't even know he was on the roster. Like, he wasn't even an option.
No, we didn't even know he was on the roster.
I didn't know. Yeah, that's for sure. I wouldn't say he's the best quarterback in the league. Let's pump the brakes on that. I like him. I like him, but you can stare right across the field at the MVP. Tamu's your MVP.
Oh, it's
BC
Bryce
champions.
Perkins.
Let's
They're,
go.
They're faking injuries for
Bryce
this guy.
Perkins isn't even a starter on his team.
This fucking league. It's like having Doug Flutie and the Argos sending out fucking.
Yeah, let's get Rob Johnson out there, baby.
What's my guy? Stan Gelball. Guys, let's best play. What's the best play of the weekend?
I said, yeah, mine's Arlington. I like Arlington. I think they put up at least 30 points and they smoke out Memphis. Memphis somehow got a ridiculous win last week with Troy Williams throwing for 36 yards.
Yeah, and also I think I'm with you on the Michigan Birmingham total as well.
The under, yeah.
Yeah.
You see that all the time in the NFL. Teams that are scheduled towards the end of the season that are playing each other the following week in the playoffs, and that's exactly what they do. It's student body left, student body right. Let's get the hell out of here, and then we'll open up the playbook when this thing matters.
Yeah. J Mark, what's your top play of the week?
I hate to be a cop here, but I agree with Arlington, and just to be a little bit different, I like the under in the Renegades Showboats game. I think that goes under. I think it's a bit of a sloppy game from the boats. Renegades are going to put up points. I don't think they get to the 40.5 though. And the dog, if we're doing a dog, is the Roughnecks.
Yeah, I'm all over the Roughnecks too as a dog if we want to do that.
Yep, we all are.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, now we jump over to the next part of the show, which is DFS, and there's still money to be made in DFS. That's the one thing. Who cares if you're sharp here? It doesn't matter that Teamu might not play or something, or Bryce Perkins isn't playing. You can find a sharp edge and make yourself a shit ton of money. How'd you guys find this overall week? Did you find it more confusing because of the lack of important games, or did you say, "Hey, I can bargain shop here"?
Yeah, you can bargain shop, but you're right. The information is just not there. And I looked around. I looked at team websites, everything. No, you're not getting any information of or any kind of hint of any kind of playing. They don't know, or they're not going to reveal it. Hell, they didn't reveal Perkins wasn't playing till like 2 seconds before kickoff last week. We're certainly not going to find out. That game mattered a little bit. But it still might be had, like you said, in DFS. I think there's only been 2 weeks where I didn't cash, or we didn't cash. We've been killing it on DFS actually all season long, and we had another big one last week. But no, I focused it this week. I actually focused in a lot on the non-playoff teams because I believe they're the ones that they're going to show up. Now, what they do, you don't know, but they're going to show up. They want to put something on tape. Games haven't mattered for them for a while, but that doesn't matter. They're still trying to win. So at least I know they'll be playing and putting their best foot forward. So I went with a lot of non-playoff teams.
Yeah, me too. I think that makes some sense in that capacity. J Mark, how'd you find it, man?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what CJ said, I focused a little more on those non-playoff teams and the ones that had good matchups, because those are the ones they're probably going to be playing their starters. I mean, what else do they have to play for? They're not going to be thrown in the second string to see what they have because it's UFL. You don't know how the roster is going to look next year. So I think in a way is a little trickier because you can't rely on those guys like Tamu that you're usually relying on because you don't know if he's going to play the full game. Yeah, but you can use that to your advantage. And real quick shout out to the chat, Japan saying, will you guys do CFL when it starts? We will absolutely do CFL. He also says, nice hat, CJ.
Yeah, and from the Patreon.
CFL Gambling Podcast. Subscribes. Next week, we're going to drop an episode. I was meaning to talk to you about that, J Mark. For some futures, which we hit on last year. We gave out the Argos.
That's okay, because on the Old Fashioned Football show, I said CFL will probably be next week, so we're on the same page there. And Channing Brown saying 9 p.m. drink and joint time. I will turn it over to Colby to start his lineup, but cheers to that.
There you go. Look at that.
Yeah. Amen. Oh, there we go. Look at this guy over there drinking that. What was that shit he was trying to pass off, the Chicago shit that he was saying for the draft if they don't.
Malort, and I took it on the live show.
Yeah, you make Malort.
Officer Malort. Jalen McClendon's my play at the quarterback spot. We just talked about him. I'm looking for guys that really I think will play the whole game. Now it's a little dicey with Curtis Johnson, but to your point, J Mark earlier, he's been playing really good. And it's been mind numbing to think what would the team look like had they just used him the entire season. But at 9K, I rostered him up. I was thinking about going Jamar Smith, but I was like, man, they're talking about Mago getting some reps. God damn it. The Stallions team with other quarterbacks. So give me McClendon. I think McClendon or Teamu, you would think Teamu is probably going to play the whole game just because they haven't shown the backup all year. But I don't know. But McClendon was my play. Bet Detective, what did you do with the quarterback spot?
I'm Arlington heavy. I went King of Spring. Let's go. I think Arlington pours it on. So Luis Perez, the book, like J Mark even put, mentioned it. He wants to make up for his team for that late game interception. Tell you what, in that game, he still threw for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns versus DC. So what's he going to do versus Memphis this week in a game where I think they're going to flex? So give me Luis Perez at 9,400, kind of a discount. To be honest with you, he's like the 3rd or 4th rated quarterback. So.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, that's one of the, especially if this is his final hurrah. Team's gonna be playing for him. Despite what J Mark says, he's known to be a great guy in the locker room. J Mark, what did you do at the quarterback spot?
Yeah, I mean, last year we did. I like that play, CJ. Last year there was a lot of ramblings about this could be his last year. I think we might see him play his last game these next couple weeks here. I don't think he's coming back another year. I like that play. I almost went with it, but I went with the same guy that Colby did, McClendon, because DC's defense has been weaker. Sure. They've allowed a lot of passing yards. McClendon has looked really good. So I absolutely think that he could have a good game here. And then if there's one thing you can count on, Luis Perez, that's blowing games.
Yeah.
Got to keep getting my shots in. There's only a couple more weeks I can get shots in.
Sorry, Charlotte has rallied at 6-5 right now. 2 outs in the 9th. Charlotte's got a guy on 1st and 3rd. What could
I would
go
say
wrong?
You should have cashed out, but we are a network that believes in let it ride, despite what Sean and Kramer tried to tell the bet detective about hedging.
Yeah, that was Sean.
Unbelievable, right?
Shocking, right? Yeah. At the running back spot, this is where I didn't phone it in. I am a little concerned, but I went with our sailor there for the Battlebirds as they're at home now at 9,500. And I am a little weary of this, but there's just not many running backs I'm attached, especially with guys getting cut, picked up left and right. I'm like, fuck. I went with just the top guy, even though I am concerned about his production and how much burn is he really going to get as they host the Brahmas. But Jalen Sailors was the play there. Bet Detective.
My top running back was my money winner last week. What's I don't want to get his first name wrong. Just Sean Corbin, running back for the Brahmas. He absolutely tore it up last week. 25 for 143 and a touchdown. Caught 5 balls for 38 yards. Now is he a money winner? Not because of his huge numbers too, because he wasn't rostered by a lot of people. But since they let McFarland sit on ice and Corbin took over, I mean, he just looks good. He looks fast. He looks quicker than everybody else. I think ECU might have pulled it out.
Yes, they did. Struck him out. There we go. Okay,
play the song.
There we go.
There we go. Come on, let's go.
There we go. Winner, chicken dinner.
All right. A lot of pesos for you, wherever the hell the currency was in Colombia. They got exchanged down there.
That's the best part about going down there. I mean, it's terrible in a way because their economy is terrible. But going to dinner with like 7 people and then realizing that I could pay for it all for $92. You really do feel like Burt Reynolds for a day. What were you saying, buddy?
No, that was it. Sean Corbin. I owe it to him to start him again. And versus St. Louis, whatever. I don't care. He just looks great. So, and he's still relatively cheap at 7,600. Obviously not the same price I used to get him at, but there's a reason. I mean, he is skyrocketing up. Might as well get on board with him.
Yeah. J Mark, what did you do with the running back spot?
Yeah, so I'll give out just Sean Corbin as well. I have 3 running backs. He's not my most expensive, but is it chasing numbers a little bit? Maybe. I mean, he just had a huge game of 25 attempts, 143 yards, and a touchdown. However, Kellen Mond starting, San Antonio just saw like, oh shit, if we give this guy the ball, he can do something with it. I think they're going to stick to that recipe. Why not? So, yeah, I think that's a smash play. And 7,600, still not my most expensive running back, and he just came off a 125-yard performance. So I think it's definitely worth the price.
Yeah. And by the way, did you guys? So I took a shot. I should probably pivot from this. I went with the former Florida Gator, Prince, the Memphis Showboats running back. But
yeah,
EJ Perry. Why are they not starting Dresser Wynn? I feel like he's better than all the other ones. But I was going to roster him at 6,600. I'm open to moving this guy now because, once again, I made my roster about 2 hours ago. I got the news that EJ Perry is the starting quarterback. Bet Detective, is there more value? What'd you do with the second running back spot? And should I jump over to someone that you give out?
Well, I went another game with the Arlington game. I went with Day Hunter, who he was a little banged up last week. I went to Tony Jones, but Hunter, he played through it and he looked great. So he is a number one running back ever since Colin Balaj went down for the season, unfortunately. So not only I think Arlington will have a lead, but then they'll run the ball as well. They'll be able to do what they want. So
I'm in. Sold.
Give me Day Hunter. He had 40 yards last week. And 40 yards rushing and 50 receiving. So he had 90 total yards in that game versus DC. So give me Day Hunter at, let's see, he is only 7,700.
Yeah, I just rostered him right now.
There you go.
Former Hawaii Rainbow Warrior. J Mark, what are you doing with the second running back spot?
So I have a value play for you in a minute here, but I'll give out my most expensive, which is the Quandre White.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this guy hasn't been running the ball more. He only had 8 carries last week, but he turned those into 59 yards. The week before, 9 carries for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think part of it's game script. If they're behind, they're not going to run the ball as much. But I do think they're going to control this game, and that's going to start with Quandre White. He had 4 games in a row of double-digit carries. I think they get back to that, and he's been very efficient when he has the ball. He's 7,900. He's my most expensive running back, but I think he's worth it.
All right, just loading up there. So you're saying I should tell the Bet Detective to stick it and go with your boy?
I have a value play for you if you need.
I support Zippy White. Who's your value play? Let's hear that.
All right, I'll give that out now. It's same team that you gave out, Bet Detective, but I went with Tony Jones Jr. again.
Yes.
His first game last week.
Love
he had
Tony
6
Jones.
carries for 36 yards. That's 6 yards average.
Yeah.
I think they get him more involved now that he's in the offense for another week. And I think he ends up getting in the end zone this week and probably gets about 10 carries. So yeah, give me Tony Jones Jr., who's only 4,000.
I know. Woo. I agree. I like being a week ahead on people. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, I discovered him back then, back when he was not doing anything on my roster. But he literally might be the best player in the league, for crying out loud.
And to be fair, you've been very good at getting guys a week ahead.
Yeah.
And then the next week they do kind of bust. So hopefully that's not the case for him.
I love that Tony Jones play. I was thinking of that as well. What do you think of this? I know, just to back up your Zippy White there. Lorenzo Lingard, they were giving him the ball, for crying out loud. Wow. He got to look good there. I mean, I could also see towards the end of the season them just trying out whoever they want. Kirk Merritt, I guess they just don't want to happen. I would like to play Kirk Merritt, but they don't want to, so I can't. So I tossed Lorenzo Lingard in there. Why not?
That guy was one of the highest recruits in the nation, and it just never worked out in college. He struggled in college, but at a high school, he was one of the biggest biggest name guys to whatever year that was. What I'm thinking nowadays with college, it's hard because those guys are in college like 7 years. But
and you're right. I mean, all the running backs for Houston looked good last week.
Right.
Kirk Merritt had the least amount of carries, but still looked good. Lingard looked good. White looked good. I mean, I think they're going to run the ball effectively.
So yeah, 5,200. He's a bargain for me.
Yeah.
There we go. I like that. I'm gonna have to turn in a second lineup now that I'm back in the States. Wide receivers. Loaded. I went with the 2 tight end set, guys. Anyone else go with the 2 tight end set?
Just 1 tight end for me.
Well, it starts off with Sal Cannella. I do think they're getting up for the King of Spring. I do think he's a good fucking guy, and the guy's back next year because he realized he could sell another fucking book, right? So I think he will be back, but he'll come to that conclusion over the offseason. Right now, they're playing for him. Sal Cannella is going to have a big game. So load up. Bet Detective, what'd you do with your top receiver spot? I
got 2 receivers and 2 solid players. I'm I'm going to let Javante Kirkland redeem himself. He's had 2 big drops 2 weeks in a row, but the good sign, the positive way to look at that is he's open. He's open in the end zone for touchdowns. He gets separation. He is a good wide receiver. Traditionally, he's just going through a bad spell. I think they want to make him feel good. Like I said, on that Friday night game, I'm always on the Brahmas anyway. So give me Javante Kirkland. You're getting him at a pretty cheap price at $7,200. He's going to get the volume.
Yeah. No, I mean, those drops need to
They're
be
terrible.
investigated.
Absolutely awful.
I like the play though. I do think he's one of the better players, one of the better wideouts in the league. J Mark, top wideout. What'd you do?
I like that play too. The drops stand out, but he's also had a shitload of targets without them being catchable targets. You know, in the NFL, you would get that stat of, well, he had this many targets, but only this many were catchable. I think that's a perfect case for Javante Kirkland. He's had a lot of targets, but not a lot of them were catchable due to the quarterback play. And I do think they get that bump from Mon. So I know he didn't look good earlier this year, but when you throw a guy back in that's been refreshed and now he's like, I got to prove myself, I do think that's a great play. I did not roster him, but I do like it. I went with Colby's play here, Sal Cannella. I agree that Luis Perez should have a good game. It should be a bounce back game. And it seems like 3 of the 4 last games here, we've kind of had a resurgence of Sal Cannella. He was a little quiet earlier in the year, but we've had a bit of a resurgence here, 64 yards, 92 yards and a touchdown. He had a 2-catch game before that, but before the 4 weeks ago, 6 catches. So yeah, Sal Cannella, $8,000. He's my highest priced wideout tight end.
There you go.
If you have not played UFL DFS, it's wide receiver / tight end.
Yes, and that goes to I'm stacking 2 tight ends and Sternberger. I think Birmingham's offense is still poor. I know you've been burnt on this burger there, Bet Detective, but I still think if it's Mago, there's a lot of continuity. They played together for years.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Smith, they play together for years. It's really if they step out of that with Peasley or something, would I be concerned? But Sternberger at 4,500. I mean, a game that doesn't mean much. Security blanket. Let's go.
Love it.
What did you do with second wideout?
My last player, I think I gave him one out to hook up with Perez. Tyler Vaughn's. He's been coming on the last couple of weeks. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Acrobatic catches too. Have bailed Perez out. He's been straight up balling. He had 8 targets, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 2-point conversion. And the week before he had a couple. He's been coming on like the last 3 weeks or so. So give me Tyler Vaughn's, give me all the Arlington Renegades you can throw at me.
J Mark, who's your is this your final guy too? Am I one behind you guys?
We gave out a couple in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my final guy because I gave out my value play at Tony Jones Jr. I like to stack with my quarterback. I could not afford his top target, which is Justin Hall. But I went with Kiki Chisholm.
Me too. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had 8 targets last week, 57 yards and a touchdown. That's 15.7 fantasy points. Despite not being his top guy that Justin Hall is, he's still getting a lot of targets, especially with how McLennan's throwing the ball. And he's putting up yards. I mean, he's a solid player. So give me Kiki Chisholm, not Kiki.
I love that pick. I also eyed him up. Did not make the slate, but maybe in my second lineup. I love Kiki Chisholm.
Yeah, I that's my last guy. So we can jump right into defense. On the defensive side of things, I won whoever's playing EJ Perry or Troy Williams. So give me the Arlington Renegades defense at 4,400. I think they're the 3rd most expensive if memory serves me correct.
Second, I believe.
Second, okay. Bet Detective, did you do the same? I take.
Yeah, I did. I was going to go St. Louis just because of Kellen Mond. I mean, just because I'm looking for opportunities where they can score. But like I said, you know what? I'm shoving everything on Arlington. I don't care. Troy Williams, EJ Perry, whatever. Memphis is going to get blown out.
Yeah, I think that's the play, man.
J Mark. If there's an Arlington touchdown, I want it covered on my roster somehow. Running back, receiver, quarterback, defense, full on Renegade avalanche. Let's go.
J Mark, what are you doing defensively?
Now, CJ won money last week. I won 6 times the money. So I hate triple locking, but what could go wrong? Give me the Renegades against the Memphis Showboats.
Bank.
It just makes so much sense. I mean, this offense hasn't looked good anyways.
Right.
And the Renegades defense has been fairly decent. Yeah, I know they let up 33 points last week, but that's against DC, who does throw the ball and have one of the better offenses. So I think they bounce back this week. I think they're pissed off. So yeah, give me the Renegades.
There we go. We are all hook, line, and sinker there, folks. That is our show. We will be back to talk about where crossroads meet bullshit, because we got one more week of useless games before the playoff happens. But make sure in the meantime you check out J-Mark, the Old Fashioned Football Podcast at J-Mark Football. Check out his show. It's fantastic. And the CFL Gambling Podcast. Myself and J-Mark will be dropping in the next week. And once again, we did hit on the Argos future a year ago. The Bet Detective, CJ Sullivan's on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _, and Instagram, I believe. So follow, subscribe, with all that, and check out the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. What are you guys tackling this week, buddy?
Just continuing my $20 to 20 million campaign. And as a matter of fact, right now we're on the phase where we need the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the West. Game tips off in a little bit, so I'm going to go watch that. And I chopped the tail off a squirrel and put it in some vortex on J Mark's behalf. He gave me some advice on what to do. I had a squirrel come up here this weekend, and he was kind of a good luck charm. He was sleeping. I was feeding him, and then it turns out he was dead. So instead of
what'd you feed him?
Instead, I did. He kind of went up here to die. I gave him a couple nuts. That's all. But he just came here. He came up here to die. And then J Mark's like, you don't need to stuff it, because I looked into that. It was pretty expensive. That's what the C-Generates wanted me to do. And he said, no, just chop that tail off, put it in some fucking borax, and you're good. So right now it's chilling in a Tupperware borax over my.
Get the fuck out of here! This guy gave him a cyanide sandwich and then told him to fucking get out of there.
If you need to know what to do with a dead animal, just hit up J-Mark.
J-Mark guided me through it.
By the way, speaking of the C-Generates, some of them wandered over to Old Fashioned Football. I mentioned I wanted Minnesota to win, and they're like, no, we need them to lose for CJ. So
yes, yeah, he did. That's right. My C-Generates are loyal. Yeah, he's like, I want Anthony Edwards as Jordan's son, and they're not like Swifties, but they're pretty close. I unleashed them on you.
Yeah. I mean, wow, dead squirrels. I got to check that episode out. Folks, also check me out on Twitter at the Colby D, and check out the College Football Experience, breaking down all 136 teams with a solo episode starting next week. Starting the week after next. And then check out the College Baseball Experience. Right now I got like 7 screens on these games right now. It's fire. Kansas coming back against Oklahoma State. And we're talking the road to Omaha. So check out there. And till next time, check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Tomorrow night we'll be talking some UFL action on the show on VSiN every Friday night. Bet Detective's on there giving out winners. So check out that every single Friday night. Till next time, this is the UFL Gambling Podcast, where crossroads meet bullshit. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot.